Hello everyone, welcome to the CloudLearn AWS Zero to Hero series. This is a day 12 video. In this video, we are going to talk about storage classes of S3 service. What is S3? S3 is an object storage, right? Or we can say S3 is a storage option which can support to store the objects, and we can share those objects with the required accounts or the with a limited people. And while we are storing the data, Amazon S3 offers different storage classes, different storage classes, or we can call them as a tiers also. For each and every use case, they are offering different types of storage classes. Let us say you have a requirement to store some data and the data to be accessible multiple times per day. Then you have to go with one storage class. If you want to store the data and the data will be accessible by the users like monthly once, then you have to choose a different storage class which costs you less money. It's purely depends on your use case. You have to choose the best storage class based on your requirement. And they are offering you almost like 8 different types of storage classes. First, let me list out all the storage classes and then we will talk about those storage classes. The first one is a standard storage class. The second one is a standard IA. Standard IA. Can you guess what might be the IA stands for? Infrequent access. Based on the name itself, easily you can guess the use case of the standard IA storage class. And then the third one is intelligent tier. Then the one zone IA, then Glacier instant retrieval, then Glacier flexible retrieval, and Glacier deep archive. Apart from these two, there is one more storage class which is Express One Zone. This Express One Zone is directory type of S3 buckets. We have two types of S3 buckets, right? Which we covered in the last video. One is general buckets or a general type of a bucket, general purpose bucket. And the second one is directory. This express one zone is for directory type of S3 buckets. You can't get this storage class in the general type of S3 buckets. Let us talk about each and every storage class. Let us talk about each and every storage class. Let's start with the standard storage class. So based on the name, easily you can guess that this is the most commonly used storage class. All right? Yes, exactly. And for each and every storage class, there are different characteristics and there are different use cases. For each and every use case, we have a different type of a storage class. What is this standard type of a storage class? The standard type of a storage class is recommended to store the objects which can be frequently accessed, like more than once in a month. Let me give an example. I would like to store some PDF document, let us say the class notes, and that object is accessible multiple times in a month, more than once in a month by multiple people. In such cases, this standard storage class is recommended. We can say this is for frequently accessed data, which means more than once in a month with millisecond access. What is this millisecond access means? Let us say I would like to click on open or download of that particular object without any delay or without any waiting time, that object can be accessed. That is what? With millisecond access. Within the millisecond, less than 1 second, that object is available for you to access. Whatever the objects you store using the standard storage class, those objects are available with the availability of 99.99%. If you recollect the previous video, in a general, I mentioned availability of the S3 storage class is 99.99% and durability is 11 nines, right? But that availability is not same for all the storage classes. But if someone asks you what is the availability of the S3, you have to mention the 99.99. That is the general availability of the S3. That varies with the type of storage classes. Okay, then coming to the durability, this is 11 nines, means 99.99. Total 11 nines you can find. Now, whatever the object we have stored, that object will be maintained minimum three, or what we can say, minimum three availability zones. What is the meaning of that is, whatever the object we store, minimum three copies of that object will be maintained across three availability zones. What is availability zone? A physical data center. What is the use or advantage of maintaining the object across multiple availability zones? For example, if one availability zone or one data center got crashed, then your data is cannot be lost. Your data will be retained. Without any impact, you can access all your data. And then minimum storage duration, which is not applicable for this particular standard. What is the meaning of this minimum storage duration means? If I upload a 1 GB of file into the standard storage class of S3 bucket, and if I keep that object only for 1 day, and if I delete on the same day, then I will be charged for the 1 GB storage space just for 1 day. There is no minimum duration like 1 month, 1 year, and so on. How much time you have used or you have kept the objects, only for that duration you will be charged. There is no minimum storage duration. And then minimum billable object size. This is also not applicable for this particular storage class. What is this minimum billable object size? To understand this better, I will take an example of the mobile calling. But now we don't care about that. But in the olden days, we have a per minute billing cycle, right? Means if you make a call for 10 seconds, you will be charged for 1 minute. If you make a call for like 61 seconds, you will be charged for 2 minutes. That is per minute billing. So here, minimum billable object size for the standard storage class is not applicable, which means if you upload 1 KB, you will be charged for 1 KB. If you upload 1 GB, you will be charged for 1 GB only. And then monitoring and auto tiering charges. Monitoring and auto tiering charges. I will explain that in the intelligent tier. Intelligent tier storage class, I will explain what exactly this monitoring and auto tiering charges. This is also not applicable here. Then retrieval charges. Retrieval charges are also not applicable. Now, what is this retrieval charges? For example, if I upload 1 GB PDF document and I asked you guys to download it, let us say 10 people accessed or downloaded that 1 GB file, which means all the users together has retrieved 10 GB of a data. So here there is no additional charges for retrieving or accessing the objects. Only you will be charged for storing the 1 GB of a data. There is no charges for retrieving or accessing that particular object. Then the next one is a standard IA. IA means infrequently accessed. In the name itself, it contains infrequently accessed, which means this is best suitable for the data which infrequently accessed. Whatever the data, I want to store it, but we don't want to access that data regularly, like monthly once. That data might be accessible for reference purpose or something. In such cases, we have to use the standard IA, which means infrequently accessed data once in a month. Whatever the data can be accessed just once in a month, then we have to use this one with millisecond access. No need to wait, no waiting time. Instantly, you can access that particular data. For what about these characteristics of the standard IA? Let us talk about that. Just give me a second. Let me use this template for all storage classes. No need to type everything every time. Let me maintain this template. Yeah, now I will copy paste and I will enter all the details. Okay, what is the availability for standard IA? Availability is not 99.99%. It is just 99.9%. Availability has been reduced. So you might have a question. If the availability is reduced, why should I use standard IA? I can go with the standard, right? But here, standard IA is less costlier, or I can say cheaper than the standard. Why should I pay? Why should I pay more money? Why should I pay more money for the data which is not accessed regularly, but the durability is same? Durability is same means you won't lose any data here. You won't lose any data. And in how many copies or how many copies of data will be maintained? Same. Minimum, the data will be maintained across a 3 availability zones. But the minimum storage duration is 30 days. What is the meaning of that? If you store the data for 1 day, you will be charged for 30 days. If you store the data for 29 days, you will be charged for 30 days. Minimum bill will be for 30 days. And then the minimum billable object size is 128 KB. What is the meaning of that is, if you upload just 1 KB file also, you will be charged for 128 KB. And monitoring and auto tiling charges, not applicable. Retrieval charges, yes, per GB fees apply, or I can say applicable means the same case. If 1 GB file is accessed by 10 people, then total 10 GB data got retrieved. So in addition to the storage cost, you will be charged with retrieval charges. That's why I said this is only for infrequently accessed. What if I store frequently accessed data into this? You will end up with more retrieval charges. More retrieval charges. Then the third one is intelligent tier. What is the meaning of intelligent tier? This storage class is intelligent to handle your data. So already we got two categories. One is for frequently accessed and the another standard IA is for infrequently accessed. What is the other data type? Let us say if your object, you don't know about whether the data is frequently accessed or infrequently accessed, which means unknown access pattern. Or first month, the data will be frequently accessed. From the second month, the data might not be frequently accessed. It might be infrequently accessed. We don't know the access pattern. In such cases, we have to use intelligent tier. Data with changing or unknown access patterns. Why? Because if if the object is not accessed once in a month, then automatically in the backend, the object will be considered as infrequently accessed data. If the object is accessed once in a month, automatically they will consider that it is a frequently accessed data. In the backend, your object will be moved across standard and standard IA based on the usage. So whenever you're using, you will be applied with a standard storage class. Whenever you don't use it, you will be charged with standard IA storage class. So availability 99.9%, same as a standard IA. And then 3 copies will be maintained. Sorry, durability is common for all. There is no difference. Durability is common for all storage classes. Availability zones, it will maintain 3 copies. Here, minimum storage duration, not applicable. You can keep it for 1 day or you can keep it for 1.5 day, 2 days, that doesn't matter. You will be charged only for how much duration you have kept your objects into the storage. Minimum billable object size, not applicable. If you upload 1 KB, you will be charged for 1 KB. But here, monitoring and auto tiling charges are applicable per object. Fees applicable for the objects greater than or equal to 128 KB. Why? They will monitor, right? They will monitor each and every object, whether they are accessed in the last 30 days or not. For that, there is a monitoring and auto tiering charges applicable. They are nominal charges. And here, retrieval charges not applicable. Then the next one is one zone IA. Can you guess what might be this one zone IA? IA stands for infrequently accessed. One zone means your data will be maintained in just one availability zone, which means there are high chances that your data might not be available, like it might not highly available, which means the availability got reduced. The availability got reduced. Let me Availability is just 99.5 percentage. And in how many availability zones the data will be maintained is just in one availability zone. If something went wrong, there are high chances that your data is not accessible. But they will recover all your data using the backups and all the things. It might take some time. Okay, what is the use case? What is the use case? Whatever the data easily recreatable, even if got deleted accidentally or due to some issues, if the data is recreatable and infrequently accessed data stored in a single availability zone. Whenever I say AZ or AZ means availability zone with millisecond access. There is no delay. Instantly your data will be accessible, but your data will be stored in just one availability zone. Here, what is the minimum storage duration? 30 days. Minimum billable object size, just 128 KB. So no need to remember all these numbers. This is just for your understanding purpose, how each storage class is different from each other. And monitoring charges not applicable, and retrieval charges applicable, like per GB fees applicable. How much data you have stored, how much data you have retrieved or accessed, for those many GBs you will be charged. These are the common things for the data which should be accessed immediately without any wait time. Then we have a different storage class called glacier. What is the meaning of a glacier? General meaning glacier. Have you ever heard about the word called glacier? Siachen glacier, right? And the Himalayas, Siachen glacier. What is that Siachen glacier? Where you can see minus degrees centigrade, right? Minus degrees temperatures, like cool place, right? Whatever you place over there, that will be preserved forever. It won't, like if you bury something over there inside the glacier, it will be exist forever. It won't decompose or something, right? Okay. So here, the glacier storage classes are available. They are recommended to archive the data for longer periods. So here I can say glacier storage classes are recommended to archive the data for a longer periods. Now the question is, what is the meaning of archive? What is the meaning of an archive? Archive means, if you say, you can see some websites. If you go for a library, if you ask some old paper, old magazine or an old newspaper, like which is 20 years old or 30 years old or 50 years old, They might say you that might be available in the archives. Means those archives are not accessed regularly. It will take some time to find it out, but they will preserve it for future purpose. Archive means, let us say backups. Backups, I don't use the backup to recover the data daily. But if something went wrong, like monthly ones or yearly ones, I would like to use the backup to recover all the data. But I want to keep those backups for like 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, longer periods with less charges. Then we have to use Glacier. And this Glacier storage classes offers you the minimum storage charges. I can say Glacier is the cheapest storage classes available. Glacier is the cheapest storage class. But in this Glacier, as I mentioned here, we have three different types of Glacier storage classes available. Glacier Instant Retrieval, Glacier Flexible Retrieval, and Glacier Deep Archive. These all are different from each other. How they are differed, that we will understand based on the storage characteristics. First, let us talk about Glacier Instant Retrieval. Name itself contains instant retrieval, means there is no wait time. There is no wait time. Instantly, you can access or retrieve your data. What is the use case for this? Whatever the data you want to long live, keep for like 10 years, 20 years, long lived archived data accessed once in a quarter. Like every quarter, you want to do some kind of data recovery test using the backups, means you will access only the backups once in a quarter with instant retrieval in milliseconds to retrieve or to access the data. If you don't want to wait for like hours or a days, instantly you want the data, then you have to use this Glacier instant retrieval. What is the availability? 99.9 percentage, and your data will be maintained across minimum 3 availability zone. Your minimum storage duration is 90 days. If you keep it for 1 day, you will be charged for 90 days. Minimum billable objects size is 128 KB. There is no auto tiering charges applicable, not applicable. Retrieval charges, yes, applied. For every 1 GB of data, what you retrieve, that charges are applicable. Then Glacier flexible retrieval. Flexibility. If you have a flexibility to access your data, like waiting for few minutes to few hours, then you can use this Glacier flexible retrieval. So I can say whatever the data you want to archive for longer periods, and and if the archived data to be accessed once in a year. Once in a year, you want to access the data. In such cases, you have to use this Glacier flexible retrieval. I can say long-lived archive data accessed once in a year with retrieval times of minutes to hours. Means to access the data, whatever you stored in the Glacier flexible retrieval, you have to wait minutes to hours, depends on how you are going to retrieve. There are three different types of retrieval methods. What we call that expedited retrieval, standard retrieval, bulk retrieval. The retrieval charges are different for each type of retrieval method. If you want to get it in like few minutes, you have to pay more, or 1 to 3 hours, you have to pay some less. If you can wait up to like 5 hours or 12 hours, we have to pay minimum charges. Whatever the data you have to keep for longer, many years. And if you want to access the data at least like once in a year, then you have to use Glacier flexible retrieval. What are the availability? Here the availability is 99.99 percentage. And how many copies will be maintained? Copies will be maintained across minimum 3 availability zones. Minimum storage duration is 90 days. Minimum billable object size not applicable. If you store 1 KB, you will be charged for 1 KB. Monitoring and auto tiring charges not applicable because there is no need of monitor your objects to move across different storage classes. And retrieval charges, yes, applicable for every GB of data what you retrieve, that charges will be applicable per GB is applicable. Then finally, not finally, Glacier Deep Archive. Glacier Deep Archive. What is this Glacier Deep Archive? Whatever the data you want to kept for many years, and the data is not accessed even once in a year. You won't use it. It is for future reference purpose. In such cases, you have to use this Glacier Deep Archive. I can say long-lived archive data accessed less than once in a year with retrieval times of hours, not minutes, hours. You can't retrieve the data in minutes. You have to wait for hours. So what about the availability here? What is the availability? Any guess? Right? 99.99 percentage. And in how many copies or across how many availability zones the data will be maintained? Yes. Minimum storage duration and 180 days. If you keep it for 1 day, you will be charged for 180 days. And minimum billable object size not applicable. Monitoring and auto tiring charges not applicable. Retrieval charges per GB charges applicable. How much data you retrieve, for those many GB you will be charged. And there is one more storage class which I did not mention here because that is a outdated one. That is outdated one. Here I will mention there is a storage class reduced redundancy storage. Just we will write down as a, even Amazon will never, I mean AWS will never recommend to use this one, reduced redundancy storage. The name itself, it contains redundancy, less redundancy. What type of data to be stored? Non-critical, frequently accessed data with millisecond latency, or I can say millisecond access, but it is not recommended. Why not recommended? As S3 standard storage class is more cost effective. How is the RRS, which is also known as RRS. This is known as RRS. The characteristics are same for standard and RRS, reduced redundancy storage. But in the reduced redundancy storage, there are some retrieval charges. But in the standard, there is no retrieval charges. For that reason, always standard storage class is recommended against the reduced redundancy storage. Now, the question, while creating the bucket, do we need to apply the storage class? No, because the storage class is not applicable for the S3 buckets. There is no storage class for your S3 bucket. Then where is the storage class? The storage class is applicable for the objects which we upload. The storage classes are for the objects which we store into the S3 buckets. Then the immediate question what you might get is, can I upload multiple objects, different objects into a single S3 bucket, but can I use different storage classes for each and every different storage classes for each and every object? Yes, that is possible, which means in the same S3 bucket, in a single S3 bucket, we can store multiple objects with different storage classes. What is the meaning of that? Let us say object 1, I can store using standard storage class. Object 2, I can upload using standard IA. Then object 3, I can say one zone IA. Object 4, glacier. Object 5, intelligent tire, and so on. So technically speaking, the storage classes are not applicable for the S3 bucket. Storage classes are applicable for the objects which we store into the S3 bucket. Okay, now what we do is, let us create, how many storage classes we have? 7. Let us create seven different files, create 7 text files or any kind of objects, and upload into the S3 bucket using 7 different storage classes. Means file 1 standard, file 2 standard IA, file 3 one zone IA, file 4 glacier, and so on. Let us upload. Once we upload, what we do is we will access all the objects from AWS Management Console. Being an administrator, we can open by logging into the AWS without using the object URL and confirm that the Glacier flexible retrieval and Glacier deep archive. Because for these two storage classes, the objects are not available for immediate access. Confirm that. Let me use Glacier flexible retrieval and Glacier deep archive. Glacier deep archive objects are not available for the immediate access. If you click to access, that is not available. That is what we have to observe, because that's what we discussed in the theory, right? That's what we have discussed. Then we will see like how we can access those objects and all. Okay, first what I do is, let me create a folder. I will say S3, just a name, a random name, in which I would like to create 7 different files. New text document. I will say the name as a file 1. So, okay, file 1. Then let me rename all. File 2, file 3, file 4, file 5, file 6, and file 7. Let me add some data also. Let me add some data also. Just I opened the file 1. I will say this is stored in standard storage class, because I'm going to store this object in standard storage class. Let me open all files. File 1, this is standard storage class. File 2, standard IA storage class. File 3, intelligent tire. You can use any content, that doesn't matter. Just for easy identification, I'm using this one. Then file 4 is going to be one zone IA. Then glacier instant retrieval. File 6, glacier flexible retrieval. Then file 7, glacier deep archive. Okay, we got all files, right? Let us upload. Let us upload all objects into the S3 bucket. Okay, before uploading, Let me show you the values, whatever we have discussed it theoretically. See here, standard, frequently accessed data, intelligent data with changing or unknown access, standard IA, one zone IA, glacier, reduced redundancy. And you can see the availability zones, minimum storage durations, minimum billable object size. I will show you like from where you can get all these details. Okay. So first thing, let us log into our Amazon S3 Amazon account, AWS account. Then navigate to the S3 service. Right? Already we have a bucket, right? The one which we created in the previous video. Let me use that only. Already we have two objects. That's okay. Leave them as it is. Let me click on upload, add files, file one. So whenever you upload an object with all default options, automatically that will be uploaded into standard storage class. Let us verify that. Click on upload, done. Just click on close. What is the object we uploaded? File one. In which storage class it is? Standard. Now the next file I will upload into standard IA. Add files, file 2. This I'm going to upload into standard IA. How to do that is, before clicking on upload, if I click on upload, automatically it will go into the standard storage class. To change the storage class of the object, so here you can see an option called properties. Click on the properties, and here you can select to which storage class you would like to upload. So here also you get all the information about each and every storage class. Select the required storage class and click on upload. The same way, I will upload the remaining 5 files using the other 5 storage classes. See here, file 2, standard IA. Let me quickly upload all other objects. File 3 is going to be into intelligent tiering. File 4, one zone IA. Once we upload all objects, we will verify the storage classes of each and every object. Then the file 5 is going to be into Glacier Instant Retrieval. The next file, Glacier Deep Archive. The next object, file 7, Glacier Deep Archive. Done. Let us verify. Okay, sorry. So here, this file 6, not to be into Glacier Deep Archive. That has to be into the Glacier Flexible Retrieval. Sorry for that. Accidentally, I uploaded using a different storage class. So file 6, let me re-upload using a different storage class. Okay, now we uploaded 7 different objects using 7 different storage classes. See here, standard, file 1 is standard, file 2 standard IA, file 3 intelligent tiering, then file 4 one zone, file 5 glacier instant, file 6 glacier flexible, file 7 glacier deep archive. Except glacier flexible retrieval and glacier deep archive, all other objects are available for immediate access. Let us verify how to access these objects as an AWS admin or AWS user. Select the object instead of download, because it's a text file, right? We can open the text file into the browser. Text files, PDFs, these can images, these can be opened using a browser. So click on open. And if we are able to see this, means the object is available for immediate access. Let me verify for all other storage classes. Open. Yes, standard IA is accessible with immediate effect. No need to wait. Then the third one, intelligent tire. Yes, done. One zone IA, open. Yes, I can access. File 5 is into Glacier Instant Retrieval. Yes, we can access it. And then the actual Glacier Flexible Retrieval. Can you see the open button? No, you can't. Can I download? No, because Glacier Flexible Retrieval and Glacier Deep Archive are not available for immediate access. Let me verify the Glacier Deep Archive. No open. Even if I go to actions, you can't see any options except initiate restore. The reason is to access the Glacier Flexible Retrieval or Glacier Deep Archive, you have to initiate a retrieval procedure. So I can say to access the Glacier objects, to access the Glacier objects, we need to initiate a restore. Then S3 makes the object available to access for a certain period of time. Not forever, like 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, depends on our requirement. So I can say the objects from the Glacier flexible retrieval can be retrieved using three retrieval methods or three retrieval types. What are those are expedited retrieval, which can be retrieved the data within 1 to 5 minutes. Then the standard retrieval, in which your data will be available within 3 to 5 hours. Once you initiate the request, your data will be available within 3 to 5 hours. And using the bulk retrieval method, your data will be available within 5 to 12 hours. If you are retrieving like thousands of GB of data, then always it is recommended to use bulk retrieval method. It is the cheapest retrieval option, and this is the costliest retrieval option. While you're doing the practical, ignore this option because I'm going to show you how we can use the expedited retrieval. Okay, now what we are going to do is initiate, sorry for the spelling mistake, initiate the retrieval of the Glacier flexible retrieval object using expedited retrieval. But you guys use standard or bulk to check the practical. I don't want you to spend a huge money or something. Okay, right, let us check this. How to do that? This is the object. Whatever the object you would like to retrieve, select the object. There is no option to open or download. Actions, initiate, restore. Three options, right? Expedited retrieval, 1 to 5 minutes. Standard retrieval, 3 to 5 hours. Bulk retrieval, 5 to 12 hours. And whatever the data you are trying to retrieve, if I say 3, means for the next 3 days, that object is available to access immediately. After 3 days, again, you have to initiate the restore. For these 3 days, the object will be charged with the standard storage class charges for these 3 days. Then after 3 days, again, you will be charged with Glacier flexible retrieval cost. Initiate restore. I said 1 to 5 minutes, right? We'll wait for like 1 to 2 minutes of time, and then just we can verify that the object is accessible or not. Let me refresh. And this is the object which we initiated the restore, not yet available. Let me click on this object. See here, restoration status in progress, typically within, sorry, what option I have used? Bulk retrieval. Ah, okay. So accidentally I selected bulk retrieval. So the option that will be available within 5 to 12 hours. Okay. Let me upgrade. But while you are retrieving, just you can say expedited retrieval. So your object will be available within 1 to 5 minutes. Initiate restore. Yes. So actually what happened here is I used bulk retrieval accidentally. Then I upgraded the retrieval method to expedited retrieval. Within 1 to 5 minutes, your object will be available to access. You can see here, restoration status in progress. At what time? 23:13, 11:13 p.m. India time. Retrieval tire, expedited retrieval. The data will be retrieved within 1 to 5 minutes. Okay, let me go back to the bucket. Let me do a quick refresh here. And file 6 still not available. At any moment within 5 minutes, the data will be available to access. So let us verify this and then we can move on to the next one. Not yet. Okay, we'll come back within 5 minutes and we'll verify. In the meanwhile, what we do is we have another storage class also, right? What is that? What is that? Glacier Deep Archive. Let us initiate that also. Sorry, before that, we have to discuss about this one, right? Okay. The objects from the Glacier Deep Archive can be retrieved using just two retrieval tires. There is no expedited here, just there is only just standard and bulk. So here within 12 hours your data will be available, and for the bulk this is available within 48 hours. But the charges are very less, minimum charges. If you want, I can show you the charges for each and every storage class before closing this video. Okay, right. So now what we do is initiate the retrieval of the Glacier Deep Archive object using or you can say bulk retrieval, but you have to wait up to 48 hours. Okay, you have to remember when you have retrieved and you have to wait for 48 hours and then you can check it. Right. How to do that? File 7, which is in the Glacier Deep Archive. It is not available to access. Actions, initiate restore. Let us say 5 days, bulk retrieval, and initiate restore. In the next 48 hours, the file 7 is available to access. Okay, now let me check the file 6 status. See here, open option is available for the file 6. Still, we haven't exceeded the 5 minutes of time. Open, and the object is available to access. And this object is available for the next 3 days. And after that, again, it is not available for immediate access. Every time you have to, retrieve by using a retrieval request. These are the S3 storage classes. Okay, before closing this video, let me show you the charges for each and every storage class for better understanding. I can say S3 storage class charges. Everything is available on AWS console only, AWS website. Let me go to the aws.amazon.com S3 pricing. Okay, storage and pricing. Let me choose a Northern Virginia region. For S3 standard, what is the cost per GB? $0.023 per GB for first 50 terabytes of data. If you exceed 50 terabytes of data, then the cost will be reduced. Okay, what about the intelligent tire? Same as standard, right? Same as standard. And if it is for what we call that infrequent access, then the cost will be reduced. Infrequent access tire, it is almost half, 0.0123, sorry, 125, which is exactly half, approximately half of the 0.023 frequent access tire. Automatically, it will move across standard and frequent and infrequent. Then S3 standard IA, which is less than the standard. For standard, the cost is $0.023 per GB. For standard IA, The cost is 0.0125. And then what is the other one? One zone IA. Where is the one zone IA? Here it is. It is just $0.01. And then Glacier instant retrieval, see here, 0.004. And for Glacier flexible retrieval, 0.0036. For Glacier deep archive, 0.00099 per G. I will share this link. Reference for storage charges. That is the URL. Okay, and then there is one thing called Express One Zone, which I will explain. This is not available. If you observe, while we are uploading the objects into the regular storage, regular S3 bucket, standard S3 bucket, there is no option to choose that, right? Because that is only available in the directory buckets. So if you go to the directory bucket, create bucket, directory. So you have to choose just your data will be stored in just one availability zone, not in all availability zone. Just see here, data is stored in a single availability zone. The data is not stored across multiple availability zones. So bucket name, bucket one, or I can say bucket 23 Feb 2025 and click on create bucket. That's it. This is how you can create. And whatever the objects you store or you upload into the directory bucket, that objects are stored using the express function. Let me show you that. How many storage classes are there? Just one. Just one. There is no option for you to change the storage classes. The data will be stored in just one availability zone. Then you might say, okay, I have a one zone IA, right? But the one zone IA is for infrequently accessed data, but this is for with less redundancy with frequently accessed data. This is what the directory buckets not required in the real time. We never use this is the recently introduced feature, just 1 year old feature also. Even it is not suitable for day-to-day activities. Okay, right. So this is about the different storage classes available on AWS S3 service. I hope this video gives you enough information about the S3 storage classes. If you have any questions, feel free to ask your questions in the comment section. If you feel this video is useful, please like the video and share with your friends. Thank you.